Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about Rudy Giuliani's first bruising day in the defamation case brought against him by Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, where after bobbing and weaving and dodging and actually losing, having the judge rule that the defamation claim and the falsity has been established, so it's only about damages because he stonewalled and would give no information, is finally facing his reckoning. And the first day did not go very well for him. All right. So when push comes to shove, since it's only about damages, it's not going to be that complicated a trial. There's a jury of 8 persons. Why 8 instead of 12? Because that's permitted in a civil case. And that's what's provided for in D.C., where this case is happening. Why D.C. federal court? That's because it is based on diversity jurisdiction. We don't have to go into at length, but it's because that's what Shay and Moss wanted, and it's has to do with Giuliani and they being from different states. So in the opening statements, the jury heard about some really terrible stuff that was visited on Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss because of these false statements. And the judge has ruled the falsity and the intentional, or at least recklessness, of Giuliani have been established. So we go into the trial knowing that the stuff he had to say about suitcases of ballots and this and that is false. And that he had the mental state to know they were false or to be reckless about it. So it's just how much money's involved. So after these false statements, and that's what the jury has been instructed, they are false. And he had the mental intent. What they heard in the opening argument were, a lot of exhibits showing really vile emails and threats and the like that Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, were having to, out of nowhere, suddenly absorb. We have Shay Moss she will testify that she went immediately to a hairdresser, tried to change her identity. As we know from their January 6th testimony, it completely upended their lives. All right. Now, Giuliani's lawyer, which, remember, is an interesting concept in and of itself because he has stiffed and been sued by 2 prominent law firms. I'm pretty sure it's 2. It's at least his very close former colleague, because he's just pays no bills and he's a deadbeat, got up and said a couple things. First, he said to the jury, you're going to hear about terrible damage that these good people, that's how he characterizes Ruby Moss and Shay Freeman, sustained. But you're not going to hear that it was caused by Giuliani. Of course, that's a bit of a, issue for debate, right? He says these things. He sticks the dogs on them, as it were, and the dogs come. Is it his fault or the dogs, or both? So that's the first thing. And then second, he says to them in opening, if you give the kind of money they're asking for, which is between $40 and $100 million, it will ruin him. That's going to be an interesting theme, and I wonder how he's going to try to demonstrate that to the jury. I mean, it is going to come down to how much money he should pay, and especially if it gets to punitive damages, part of it's going to turn on his overall holdings, and it's exactly those that he's been fastidious, obsessive, paranoid about not revealing. So he's taken contempt citations and everything in order to not reveal this. Does it mean that he doesn't have 2 dimes to rub together? It doesn't mean he's got a secret stash that he doesn't want people to know about, but he's not using it to pay lawyers, etc. If he really wants his lawyer to be able to make this kind of pitch to a jury, please don't ruin this nearly 80-year-old man. I think he's going to have to show something about his finances, but that would be stuff he didn't produce in discovery. It could sort of take Moss and Freeman by surprise, and we'll see what the judge, who is Beryl Howe, remember her? She, until not long ago, was the chief judge of the D.C. District Court. She's now passed the baton to another judge there, but she is a tough, sharp, no nonsense judge. So we'll see how that goes. One more big development yesterday. Rudy Giuliani, who, looks more and more to be like truly addled, said in an out-of-court statement, "Do you regret it, Mr. Giuliani?" "No, of course I don't regret it. The votes were rigged." Like, what? That is, so he, in other words, re-upped on the defamation of them all over again. That could clearly be, it's, equally false and defamatory, and they could sue him again for it. It came up in court where the Judge Howe said to Giuliani's lawyer, Sibley, "What the hell? You're saying in court here," and he did say this to the jury, "these are good people, Ruby Moss and Shay Freeman, and that's the tack he's gonna take. But outside, your client's saying, defaming them again, and what could well be another count. What the hell is going on?" And basically, Sibley, who knows, how prominent a lawyer or good a lawyer he is, most prominent good lawyers would not want anything to do with Giuliani, who, among other things, doesn't pay them, said basically, "Your Honor, he's a 80-year-old man. He's not well, and this is taking a toll on him." So basically saying to the court, Giuliani's this pitiful figure, and I can't stop him from saying stuff, and a very, on the one hand, poignant, on the other hand, counterproductive, you could say, argument, because he's in there representing Giuliani and saying things, and Giuliani out there on the stairs defaming them again. Among other things, I think that statement can come into court. It can be evidence, and that would be, a very vivid show that he's not sorry. He doesn't think they're good people. He's doing it. Whether or not it's a whole new count, it's something that would make a jury, it seems to me, want to punish the guy. And he's just, on a collision course to a huge verdict that, if you believe his lawyer, will ruin him. And, in general, the final act of Rudy Giuliani's career is both, is pitiful, humiliating, and perplexing. And, I've posited before that maybe his overall game plan is to just keep stalling until the very day when, and this could be years away, when literally marshals come to impound his property to pay a judgment. And maybe he's thinking he won't be alive then. It's completely perverse behavior on his part. And goes out and defames them again. Even Trump, having received the gag order a couple of days ago, showed, some consciousness of it. What is Giuliani thinking? What is he expecting? It all seems like he's really not well, and looking at a big and bad verdict against him. So today we'll have the emotional testimony of Moss and Freeman. That'll be the centerpiece of what's going to be a pretty short trial. And we'll see what Giuliani even tries to present, especially in support of this argument that it would ruin him. He's got to explain why that would be so. Otherwise, to try to say they're good people, but that the damage that befell them wasn't his fault, I think he tries to do that on cross-examination of Moss and Freeman. You can't say, can you, that it was because of Giuliani, et cetera, and a series of questions like that. So that's what we can expect in this short and I think for Rudy Giuliani, very bruising trial that ought to go, this week. We'll probably wrap it up, maybe a little bit into next. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.